It now takes less than 3 seconds to change all 4 tyres on an F1 car and re-enter the race. Blink and you'll miss it. The speed is incredible, with the fastest pit stop ever recorded being done in just 1.82 seconds. But it doesn't happen by chance. Pit stops are such an important part of F1 strategy that teams put in thousands of hours of practice time and spend thousands as well. An F1 pit stop typically involves more than 20 people. This team has a set lineup, with each member assigned a specific role. They're all mechanics working on different jobs on either car, but they serve both cars in the pits together. The lineup never changes unless someone becomes ill or is unable to attend, in which case there is a reserve for every position, and most team members are also trained in other roles just in case. Now, before the season begins, teams practice thousands of pit stops on rigs in their factory, honing the team and optimizing the various positions. This is a competitive process with mechanics competing for various roles. A variety of tools are used to achieve these lightning-fast stops. The jacks used to lift the car up in the front and back used to be simple trolleys, but they have evolved into highly sophisticated devices. They raise when the handle is pushed down and have an auto-drop mechanism to save time. The front jack pivots as well, allowing the operator to step out of the way. Teams may also have a side jack, which is used if the front wing is damaged, rendering the front jack ineffective. Because the modern jack is so complex, each one costs around $250,000 and many are required for backup. Wheel guns, which are used to remove and tighten the central nut that holds each wheel in place, are just as complicated. They operate at 26 bar pressure, rotate at more than 10,000 RPM, and automatically switch from loosen to tighten while in use. Every garage has 24, including spares, and the majority of them have been further modified to improve performance. Now, when mechanics finish their work, they used to raise their hands, but now the guns have a button that they press for confirmation. If something goes wrong, the gunner makes a cross with their arms in the air. The pit stop itself is a highly choreographed spectacle. This is how it's done, step by step, and who does what. 1. The front jack man is the first to get involved, sliding the jack underneath the car, pushing down on the handle to lift it up, and pivoting to the side. If this one is knocked over or the jack becomes stuck, the backup is ready. 2. The 4 gunners, armed with wheel guns, follow the car in with the head of the gun perfectly aligning when it comes to a stop. Some guns even include laser guides for pinpoint accuracy. They immediately begin loosening the wheel. 3. The rear jackman slides the jack under the car and lifts the rear. 4. To keep the car from wobbling on the jacks, the stabilizer crew holds each side of the car around the airbox. They may also step further forward and lift the car if it has wing damage and the front jack cannot raise it. 5. The wing adjuster crew on each side of the car use torque adjusters to change the angle of the front wing flaps, if required, to modify the downforce at the front end of the car. 6. The wheel-off crew grabs the wheels and slides them off, wearing gloves because the rubber is scorching hot. 7. Before the car arrives, the wheel-on crew has their hands on the new tyres. They lift them and slide them onto the axles. To make them less likely to be lost, the wheel nuts are integral to the wheel. 8. The 4 gunners step in again to tighten the wheel nuts. They click the confirmation buttons on their guns once all is in place. 9. The front and rear jackmen release the jacks and the car drops to the floor with a back-cracking thwack that also sends a confirmation trigger. 10. The pit stop controller, formerly known as the lollipop man, receives all signals, confirms that the pit is clear and releases the car. Previously, a stop-go sign on the end of a stick was used, hence the lollipop moniker, but the car is now released by turning the stop-go gantry light from red to green. Now, a car may require more than just new tyres at times. For example, teams frequently clear debris from the side pods to ensure that air has a clear path into the radiator for cooling. Another relatively common action is a front wing change, which usually occurs at the start if a driver is clipped in the wheel-to-wheel action. This could take between 10 to 15 seconds to complete. Sometimes, electrical problems necessitate a steering wheel swap. The wheel has a quick release mechanism, and 2 team members will be present in this case to take the wheel from the driver and click on the new one. Longer jobs, such as suspension checks after an incident, can be excruciating as time passes. If additional work is required, a vehicle will be jacked up and wheeled back into the garage. If it can be fixed quickly, it may go out again to use the race as a test. Just like any aspect of the sport, practice and precision is essential to getting it right every time. And in pit stops, every millisecond counts. Every team has a practice rig at their factory, and many of them use an electric dummy car. This is where the team goes over the drill several times. They also practice challenging scenarios such as misalignment and nose changes. That's all well and good, but at the track, each pit lane is unique. It could be slanted, have distracting markings or drains, or be closer or farther away from the pit gantry. These may appear to be minor details, but they can have a significant impact. To get used to these unique differences, teams set aside every day of a race weekend, including race day morning, for practice. The car is pushed into position and the crew perform as they would in the race. Each team plans differently, but sessions typically run to around 30 minutes. Teams also run live practices with the car, arriving at speed during the official practice sessions. This allows the driver to fine-tune their stopping technique while also providing the crew with a more realistic test. To stay in shape for the job, mechanics also put in a lot of physical work. Almost every job requires lifting heavy objects while making precise movements, so crew members must be strong and agile. Most teams use gym exercises to improve core stability and strength, which helps to maximize performance while also lowering the risk of injury. Video analysis is used to optimize specific movements, and for positions that require more strength, there are more upper body exercises to help bulk up. Okay, enough about the pit crew. What role does the driver play during a pit stop? Well, the driver must not only be able to spot his pit, which is easier said than done with the chaotic nature of an F1 pit lane, but he must also stop his car in precisely the right spot. The team is precisely positioned, and any misalignment, either too far forward or back, or too close to one side, will require the crew to adjust their position. This can cost up to a second, or worse still, knock the jackman to the ground, as Lewis Hamilton did in practice for the 2021 Russian Grand Prix. Markings on the ground indicate the precise position the car must be in to assist the driver. Some crew members will also wear reference markers such as arrows on their fireproof overalls. When the car comes to a complete stop, the driver shifts into neutral and keeps his foot on the brake to prevent the wheels from turning. He'll also grip the steering wheel tightly in order to prevent the front wheels from moving. He then starts the launch sequence and focuses entirely on the light gantry. When the light turns green, the driver shifts back into first gear and hits the throttle, remembering to keep the speed limiter engaged until crossing the pit lane exit line. That's all there is to it. The car is now fully in the hands of the driver, and the pit crew can return to the garage, grab some coffee and snacks, and continue watching the race. That is, until a safety car or an incident dumps all manner of chaos and pressure on their shoulders and they once again have to perform the 3-second dance of an F1 pit stop. So, what are your thoughts on the role of pit stops in Formula 1, and are there any changes you'd like to see? Please let us know in the comment section down below. Now, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe and click the notification bell to be notified of our next uploads. Check out our other videos on the screen right now as well. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again soon.